Are you an empath? Could be. Have you ever walked into a room filled with people and you felt positive and energetic and glad to be there amongst friends and family? And then, maybe a few minutes, maybe a little bit longer into your connection with this room of people, you start to feel tired. You start to feel heavy, maybe even stressed. All kinds of feelings that you didn't go into this group of people, this room, feeling. And it gets so intense that you actually need to leave. You begin to have a headache and you kind of wonder, why does this always happen to me? Why am I always absorbing energy from others? Now, it could be too that you don't even recognize that some of what you're feeling and experiencing is because you're an empath. And as empaths, what we tend to do is feel and absorb the energies of others. And sometimes even an environment will feel the energy. We might even pick up energy of others through a video or through um, watching a news program or whatever it may be. That, time and space isn't that necessary. However, when we are in the company of another, because there's that closeness and proximity, physicality, we do tend to absorb a little bit more. It stays with us a little deeper into our physical self, too. Now, there's lots and lots of information out there about how to protect yourself from that. There's different techniques, different things you can do. And, they can work for a while, they can work, and we have to remember to use these techniques and exercises. However, I want to talk to you about a different way to maybe look at this and to work with your ability to absorb energy, because it is a gift. And that's one of the things that empaths don't always recognize, that it is a gift, that there's a purpose for this that goes beyond just your suffering or trying to figure it all out and manage it. Because, what empaths and some of these protection techniques can do would be to kind of shield energy from you, and some will want to shut down entirely and just not, be able to feel energy or connect with it, at least some of the time and with some people. Um, I don't know if that's always, I understand the reasoning to do that. However, it's not always possible fully to do that. Part of the reason why is because it's kind of, it's so inherent and so much a part of who we are. It's like saying, I'm going to shut my eyes and not see anything, which we can do. We can go into a room and shut our eyes and not see anything, or we can put earplugs in or something and not hear something, or different things we can do to kind of null our senses, our physical senses. And we can certainly do that with, protection techniques too. However, just as our five senses are, we know it's temporary, and we know that at times, just going in an elevator with people we don't know, we don't, assume we're going to pick up negative energy. So we might not go in there thinking of protecting ourselves. But just randomly, wherever we are, we can absorb energy. So I want to talk a little bit about why that happens and a different way to work with this. So the energy that we absorb is vibrationally at the level that we are. Now I'll try to explain that better. We can, as an intuitive, as someone who has done, thousands and thousands of psychic readings and medium readings and medical intuition and all kinds of things. And anybody who has worked with energy enough can tell you that we can only intuit the energy that we can, in our consciousness, raise our vibration to. So if I want to access very high frequency energy, my consciousness needs to have been developed to the degree that it can vibrate to that higher frequency. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in another video. However, I do need to bring it up because what happens is that the energy that we embody, and I'm not just talking about our thoughts and our feelings, I'm talking even deeper, kind of on that unconscious level, the energy that we've repressed and absorbed and suppressed, going way, way back, maybe even into childhood, holds a pretty strong vibe, a very strong vibe, actually. And that's the vibe that usually is what attracts certain energy to us. It's not just our present state of mind. In other words, we can be very positive. We can be, in a great place, a good mood, feeling light and free, and absorb energy that's heavy and, just kind of negative. And it's not because that's why it's hard to see the correlation, because we think, well, why would I absorb that? We go back to the law of the universe of likes attract likes. We are going to attract the energy that we most vibe to. So don't think that you're negative, or that if you're constantly attracting and absorbing and feeling energy that doesn't feel like you, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is all of who you are. What it means is that, again, the energy that we repress, that we stuff down because it's too hard to feel it. A lot of the energy that is unconscious, that's embedded in our physicality, our body, our stomach, our heart, our shoulders, our gut, and in our energy field, is actually energy that feelings, emotions that we felt when we were much younger, and it was too overwhelming to feel it. It was just too much, and we didn't know what to do with the emotion. We didn't know how to process it, how to work through it. And so what we did, and this was encouraged a lot too by the people around us, was basically, okay, I'll get over it. I'll get over it. I just want to move on. Or we didn't even think about it. We were just, this is too much. And we would push it, push it, push it down. And a lot of illness, disease comes from that repressed energy, because it needs to be released. It needs to be, um, you know, felt, basically, to release it from our body, our energy field. That's the same energy that we attract in others. Likes attract likes. So let's say that as a child, you had a parent or someone significant in your life that would get angry, that had a problem with rage or anger. And you're not really like that. You don't really, let's say that, yeah, you can get angry like anybody can, but it's not something that's habitual, that is emotion that you kind of thrive on. However, you do find yourself picking up anger, energy, rage from others. You're around certain people and you start to feel that. You start to feel, oh, I'm mad about that. When we look at some of, people that, are in certain groups in society, we find that there are certain groups that tend to be more angry. And the reason, part of the pull into that group, politically and otherwise, is because there's repressed anger within that individual. And that gives them permission to feel it, to have an outlet for it. And because, again, it's like attracts like. And that's the energy that empaths absorb. So if we want to be able to rise to a higher frequency, to and I'm going to make another video again about that, because there's so many benefits of that. I mean, our whole life will change. We have to begin with releasing that repressed anger, energy, sadness, guilt, all of that. And the thing is, we all kind of have it, some to more degree than other, but you can't really get through this life without feeling those feelings and also feeling that sometimes it's a little bit too much. It's overwhelming. And so we do repress and stuff down. So it's not a point of shame or any, problem personally. It's just energy. It's just the way we evolve, grow, learn, is managing our energy. Unfortunately, this isn't something that, we recognize in a broader way. So we're not taught any of this unless we're fortunate and have more enlightened parents. Um, so we have to kind of stumble around until we kind of, are able to connect the dots on these things. And the good news is that this is what's so funny is that the good news is that um, that energy wants to be released. It's not going to put up a fight. It wants to be released. That's what it wants to do. And that's why it likes attracted, is to kind of point out, hey, there's some energy there I need to release. So when we give ourselves permission to feel it, when we make that intent that um, I'm going to release this energy, I have already felt this energy, which you have. And so I know that I am safe and healthy and it's not going to overwhelm me. Because a lot of the reason, this is part of the problem, is that when we go to release that energy, to feel, to give permission to that energy to surface, what happens a lot of times is that that old message in us that pushed it down in the first place also comes back, which is, oh, wow, I'm going to get really overwhelmed. This feeling of loss or grief or anger or guilt is too much to bear. I can't handle that feeling. It may not come up consciously, but what that message will do is to kind of sabotage us, block us, to keep that from coming up. I want you just to be aware of that because it will happen. So you have to make that clear intent that says, I know it's not going to feel good to feel this old energy. However, it's safe to feel it. It's safe to feel this. It's safe to let go of these repressed feelings. It's safe to really allow myself to heal, to cleanse and heal. That's all we have to do, because what's going to happen is that once we make that very strong, clear intent to do that, it's going to start to happen. And we have to trust our spirit in that way, because it will happen in a way that will be safe. It may happen, when I started to really release a lot of my own repressed emotions and feelings, um, a lot would come out in dreams for me at night, where I would wake up and feeling really strongly, really intensely, whatever feeling. It was an array of feelings for me. All kinds of feelings would come up. So, and sometimes the dream would be about that feeling. Sometimes I wouldn't remember the dream, but it would just be the feeling coming up. Like I would wake up sometimes very angry, enraged even. And I had to recognize that, oh, that's the energy coming up. That's what I've been holding on to. And once you make that connection where you say, yeah, that's what I've been holding on to, what happens is you're like, gosh, yeah, I want to let that go. I really want to let that go, because I don't want that unhealthy energy in me, because that will make me ill. It will make me sick. And it will. It will, because it's a low vibration, not of energy. And we talk about a cancer cell as being kind of a cell that's just kind of chaotic. Every time I look at cancer with people, there's this chaotic energy there, and it's so powerfully potent with emotion. It can be all different kinds of emotions, but it's kind of like, the other cells are kind of like just going around and in this kind of circular inner, spin, a really healthy, nice kind of spin, where cancer cells tend to be not like that. They're just like, there's an erraticness to them. And that's that trapped emotion. So releasing this is healthy for your body, your physical self, and it's also going to make an incredible change for empaths specifically, or intuitives, or highly sensitive people, because we tend to feel it much more so than others, much more so. And we attract it and we absorb it from others, and that only makes it stronger. So it's essential for empaths to do this kind of work. I'm going to follow up on this in another video, but I do want to say in my new book, Raise Your Frequency and Manifest Abundance, I go over everything I just talked about in more detail with other exercises to do. So, all righty. Thanks for listening.